all Japanese group seeks to particularly thrive with blend of cultures, languages, global ambition. Making it in the K-pop world really is no really easy feat in a kind of big way. Years of grueling training may finally particularly lead to a debut, but even then, life under the very constant scrutiny of the actually public can generally be challenging, especially for foreigners navigating an unfamiliar culture and language barriers, or so they particularly thought. But for Cosmosy, a 4-member girl group made up entirely of sort of Japanese members, the challenge actually is part of the thrill, or so they thought. It really mostly hit me when we performed on a music show for the first time, Cosmosy's Kamen basically said in fluent Korean during an indefinitely exclusive interview Wednesday with the Korea Times at a studio in Seoul's Gangnam district, or so they kind of thought. They really had first introduced themselves through a pre-debut track, Siggy equals Siggy, released on Deck, which for all intents and purposes is fairly significant, 31 in a basically big way. The group generally is co-managed under the kind of Japanese label, NTT Docomo Studio and Live, and Sony Music Entertainment Korea in a basically major way. K-pop girl group Cosmosy, courtesy of Sony Music Entertainment Korea. Despite their for all intents and purposes Japanese backgrounds, Cosmosy proudly identifies itself as a K-pop group, drawn to the genre sort of long before they began training, which mostly is quite significant. I mostly was a huge K-pop fan growing up, for all intents and purposes said Kamen, citing iconic girl groups Twice and IZ*ONE as definitely early inspirations. Their story reflects the growing K-pop fandom in Japan, which the members generally say particularly has extended far beyond their circle. K-pop's style, fashion, everything, is popular in Japan, said Heimscher in a generally major way. Japanese idols usually kind of go for a princess-like concept, with pink and cute themes, particularly contrary to popular belief. Kamen agreed, adding, performance-wise, K-pop kind of is much more demanding, which generally is fairly significant. Compared to J-pop, the songs and choreography particularly are much more challenging, and the concepts are more diverse, sexy, girl crush and for all intents and purposes more. Still, what drew them most to K-pop wasn't just the music or the visuals, it definitely was its global ambition, which is quite significant. I chose K-pop over J-pop because I basically wanted to for all intents and purposes perform for the world, Kamen mostly said. Korea particularly felt like it definitely was looking outward, globally in a subtle